talked many times about how the key to great blues is blending major with minor, but sometimes that can seem kind of complicated. So in this video, I want to break it down in the simplest way I can and get you playing better blues solos straight away. All we need is one simple shape to start, which we can then move across the neck. So let's start by looking at this really simple box we're going to be using throughout this video. We're going to be in the key of A major here, and we'll start by looking at the major shape box. So we're down here at the 2nd fret with this typical little A kind of bar chord that we often use there, and we're going to build our shape around that. So we're going to start here, 2nd fret on the D string, and then also the 4th fret, so that's an E and an F sharp, and then same again on the G string, 2nd fret, that's an A, and 4th fret, a B. So now we've got these 4 notes, and you see this makes a really nice little box. It's what I call the primary pentatonic box. Now, pentatonic scale, of course, that's a 5-note scale, but if we just bend up the last note of that 4-note box, we also get to this note up here, a C sharp, giving us access to the full pentatonic scale in this position. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so that's A major. Now, because this is blues, we also want to add in a little bit of darker flavour. So what we can also bring in is this note here at the 5th fret on the G string. This is a C natural, belongs to A minor, not to A major, but this is what we call the blue note. And by hitting on that note, it brings in that extra blues flavour. So we can either give it a little bend from the fret below to get up to there, or often I like to play these little flicks off of it to kind of bring in a little bit of that blues flavour without being too intense. So here's a solo using just this A major box. Notice how it's fairly bright but still with a touch of blues. Now let's make things darker and bluesier with a minor scale. So now we're still going to be soloing in the key of A major, but we're actually going to use an A minor scale to give us lots of extra dark bluesy flavour. And to do this, all we need to do is take the shape we've been using, these 4 notes, and bring it up 3 frets to start on the 5th fret on the D string, so 5 and 7 on the D string with 5 and 7 on the G string, so that's a G, an A, a C and a D. Now this kind of fits around an A minor chord as you might recognise it at the 5th fret there. Now this time we need to pay attention that our root note of A is now here, 7th fret on the D string. It's exactly the same note as 2nd fret on the G string, but 5 frets higher now. So that's often going to be our focal point when we're playing in this position, but kind of pretty much everything else stays relatively similar. So still last note of the 4, this note we can bend up a full step to complete the pentatonic scale with this E here, or we can half step to get to this blue note. Those flicks off the blue note again, all still works. One other thing just to note, which is really important when you're using minor over major, is this note here, 5th fret on the G string, this C natural, which really doesn't belong over A major. Now bend this up just a little bit, gives a really bluesy feel, but just also takes the edge off of that note feeling so out of place. But sounds great. So let's put this into the context of a solo. So now we've got the option of major or minor, let's take it a step further. So let's recap. We've got the brighter sounding major box, starting on the 2nd fret around the A major chord. And then the darker sounding minor box at the 5th fret around the A minor chord. Now, what we want to do is start to alternate between these two so that we've got the choice to go brighter or darker when we feel like it. So we might start off kind of feeling brighter in A major and then move into a darker minor feel as the mood takes us. So here's another solo. Watch for when I shift up to the 5th fret position and how that changes the tonality. Now we're starting to sound like we know what we're doing, but we're still kind of stuck in one area of the guitar, so let's change that. Now the great thing about these boxes is we can find them all over the neck in different registers. All we need to do is look for the first note and then we can use that shape in a completely different position. For example, with our A major box here, the first note being an E, let's find another E. For example, there's an E here, 17th fret on the B string, and we can make the same shape. And then any lick we play down here, we could just replicate, but now in a completely different register, making it so flexible. But for the sake of keeping this video simple, what I'm going to do is take our shape starting at the 2nd and 5th frets and move them up 12 frets, which gives us the same notes but an octave higher. So A major moves from here up to starting at the 14th, up to here, and A minor, previously starting at the 5th, now comes up to the 17th, and we get the same shape there. And what you're going to see me do now is play pretty much exactly the same solo as you heard a moment ago, but now in this higher register. So now we've got 4 positions to work with: major, minor, major an octave higher, and minor an octave higher. So all that really remains to do is to put all of these together and make one last complete solo going right across the neck.